How's it going, guys? Today, I'm going to be going over every single house in vanilla Skyrim, that is. Going over the prices, the benefits, and trying to decide which one is actually the best house in Skyrim. As this is an issue I face quite often when starting a new game. I always just buy the breeze home and then leave it at that because it's so cheap and easy. But my second house, my real house, I always struggle to figure out which one's the best, so that's what we're gonna go over in this video. So we're gonna start out in the Breeze home, because this is the one that, I'm closest to. The main benefit to the Breeze home is, like I said, it's the convenience. It's insanely easy to get. All you have to do is beat Dragon Rising, which is like one of the first quests in the main quest line. All you have to do is beat Blakefall's Barrow, and then kill the dragon at the Western Watchtower, and then that's it. Also, it only costs 5,000, which is the cheapest in the game, and all of the inside upgrades only costing 1,800. So a total price of 6,800 bucks, which is insanely cheap. And in my opinion, just a very great investment, if only just for a chest to place your dragon bones and, all the other stuff you might want to save, but it's like weighing you down. Alright, so aside from price and convenience, what is actually good about the Breeze home? You have a cooking pot, I guess, if you play survivor mode. That's kind of nice. And on the main floor, you have either an alchemy lab with a place to put your ingredients, which is quite nice, and I guess a chest. Or you can choose to make this a children's bedroom, and you'll find that to be a pretty common theme. You either get the choice of a children's room or an alchemy lab. You can't really have both for a lot of the houses. And then if you go up into your bedroom, you do have quite a few storage places. You have 2 end tables, a chest, and a dresser, Oh, and also, another added advantage is you don't actually have a smithy or anything like that in the house, but you're right next to this, what's it called again? The War Maidens, which has a smelter, it has, a forge, tanning rack, it has all that stuff, so you don't really need a smithy or anything. One thing to note is it doesn't actually have an enchantment table, which is kind of annoying. I mean, granted, you could just go up to Dragon's Reach, but that is a pretty annoying walk. All in all, in terms of convenience, it's pretty tiny, but just because it's convenient and it's cheap, I'm gonna give this a 6 out of 10. It's good to use at the beginning of the game, but I would not actually make this my main house in any playthrough. So moving on, we're gonna go to the Windhelm house for a very specific reason. So the Windhelm house I don't actually have much experience with, as I almost never buy this house. I've only bought it a few times, and I think this playthrough, I bought it just for the specific sake of making this video. I think this might be the 3rd time, maybe the 2nd time, that I've ever actually owned this house. And as you can see, it has absolutely no decorations. Why, you may ask? The answer is, I don't fucking know. Yeah, every time I've bought this house, I have not been able to decorate it. I don't really know why. I just could not do it. I assume it would be quite nice once you do decorate it, because it is very big. But yeah, I don't actually know if it's good or not. I've never owned the proper version of this house. I would imagine it would be pretty good. Look at all this fucking space. It really is such a shame. So for the reason that it's always bugged for me, and this seems like a common issue too, because I see a lot of people online asking for help about this issue, and there's like dozens of guides for this. So it clearly isn't just me doing something wrong like an idiot. The game is fucked. So for that reason alone, it's 0 out of 10. Not only is it bugged, but also it's a pain in the ass to get. You have to beat like a detective quest, and you have to participate in the Civil War, either completing the Imperial side of things, if you start with them, or beating the Battle for Fort Sunguard, if you join the Stormcloaks. So it is a pain in the ass to get, and it's extremely expensive, coming in at 12,000, just for the empty house, and an extra 9,000 for all of the interior decorations, assuming you can actually make that happen. 21,000 bucks for a useless piece of land. And I mean, it is quite sad though, because Windhelm is actually an insanely beautiful city, especially this part of it. I really like the wintry aesthetic, so it is actually a shame that the only wintry city in the game that you can buy a house in, it's bugged, and it's extremely expensive. So 0 out of 10 for me. Alright, next up on the list is going to have to be Honeyside in Riften. Honeyside has got to be one of my favorites. I just love Riften. I'd have to say Riften is easily my second favorite city in Skyrim. So yeah, let's go back to the entrance. I'm actually not super experienced with the layout, but as you can see, you have the, almost like, I don't know the specific type of wood this is, but it's a very, like, portly kind of city, like, with, like a dock aesthetic, you know what I mean? And it has the very nice, like, I really have no idea the word to describe it, but it has a very nice kind of, like, sailor, almost, aesthetic to it. Very cozy. I really like the way it looks. Just like Bree's home, it has a cooking pot, and this is the main bed. You have a nice chest right next to your main bed. Apparently on this playthrough I actually used this chest. I didn't realize that. I haven't been on this account in so long, by the way. That chest, along with your main bed, a couple other storage units. And in the basement, you have an alchemy lab. I assume there's a place to put your ingredients. There doesn't seem to be a place to store your ingredients very close by. You do have 2 mannequins, which is a nice touch, along with an enchantment table, and some places to put items. And in this room, I believe this is a kid's room, so not only can you adopt kids and have them live in this house, but you also have an alchemy table and an enchantment table, so you get all 3, plus a few mannequins and like a weapon rack, just some nice decorative shit with quite a bit of customization that you can actually do. The price for Honeyside is 8,000 bucks just for that empty house, and also an extra 4,300 for all of the insider decorations. So a total of 12,300, which, I mean, considering you get to adopt kids, you get to have an alchemy lab and an enchantment table, and it's a very aesthetically pleasing house in my opinion. For that price, that's really, really good. So for Honeyside, I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10, as it is a little bit small, and, it's not perfect, but it is an amazing choice. Alright, so next up, we're going to do the 3 Hearthfire homesteads all at once, because even though they do have subtle differences, they are effectively the exact same. So before we do that, first of all, we have to note that each one of them, just the plot of land, costs about 5,000, well, it costs exactly 5,000. Which is equally as cheap as the Breeze home, although you have to buy a shit ton of logs. I don't have the exact amount, but for every 20, it costs 200 bucks. Plus you have to buy a lot of building supplies, which can be several thousand extra, and then also the horse, and the animals, and the carriage driver, and the bard on the inside. If you want to really get everything maxed out, you're looking at close to, if not more than, 15,000 bucks. I would say that is extremely good. We're gonna go over why. First of all, just from the outside, we have an anvil, which affects as a blacksmith forge. We also have a workbench, grindstone, and a smelter. So right here, and I guess, storage that you can use, although I use this for my building supply stuff, but yeah, right here you have a complete smithy outside the house. This is Lakeview, by the way, the Falkreath one. And the thing I really, really love about these 3 houses, the 3 homesteads, is you have such an insane amount of customization. Like, you can really make each wing, the north, south, the north, west, and east wings, into whatever you like. So let's go inside. Also, this entrance is also kind of like the quote, small home. You can just have the small home and that's it, and have it be, like, pretty good. It has a bed, a dresser, a few storage spaces, a cooking pot. Almost nothing, but for its worth, it's decent. Yes, this place is extremely big. You have a little alchemy lab and, a satchel. So even if you choose not to get, like, the alchemy edition, you already get one, like, no matter what. And same thing for enchanting, I believe. Yeah. Boom, enchantment table, and, a few places if you want to store sword gems in this sack, maybe, or this one. So no matter what, even if you specifically choose not to get the enchantment tower and the alchemy lab, you still get one, which I think is insanely powerful. I forget which rooms I chose. I think I chose a kid's bedroom. So yeah, like, exactly the same as Honeyside. You can have kids, an enchantment table, and an alchemy lab. On this side, I chose an armory, because I love having mannequins and, putting my armor and my weapons on display. Yeah, this has lots of options for mannequins, and a shit ton of options for, like, weapons and stuff. You can also get, I believe, in the back, you can get, yeah, this room, where you can, like, make little trophy things of animals, which is really sick, actually. Oh yeah, the basement. The basement is almost always bugged for me, just like Windhelm. I don't know why. I bought the upgrades, you know, to furnish it, but it just didn't go through for some reason. Also, I completely forgot to mention, you do also have to buy the interior decorations from, you know, Rhea. I completely forgot. That actually probably adds on several extra thousand. So I wouldn't be shocked if this entire house cost about 20k total. Maybe a little bit less than 20k, but about 20k. Yeah, upstairs you also have an extra kids room. So even if you choose not to get the kids room, you still get a kids room. That's probably one of my favorite things about this house. Also, this is your room. You have a little chest if you want. What I like about this house and the other two homesteads is that even if you choose not to get the option for a kids room, and you choose not to get an alchemy lab, and you choose not to get the enchantment tower, you still get access to those three things and a smithy all at the same time. And it's extremely easy to actually get to your house because it's got its own fucking icon. Also, just for sake of showing off, this is Windstad Manor, the Morthal one, and this is Helhjarchen Hall, the Dawnstar one. Also, a little cool sort of note. If you get the carriage driving guy, he will take you not just to every city for free, but also every, like, village and settlement. Like Karthwaste and Ordhroden, which is actually an inn. You know, every single one he'll take you to for free. So if you don't have them unlocked on the map. I guess I'll quickly show off Windstad and Helhjarchen Hall. Yeah, this is Helhjarchen Hall. I actually find this one to be the most aesthetically, like, displeasing. I really dislike it. Because it's in kind of this ugly, barren part of Skyrim. It's in, like, the back end of Whiterun. But yeah, I find this to be very aesthetically unpleasing, unlike, you know, the Lakeview one. Lakeview is actually really nice in my opinion. I think I actually bought mine relatively recently. It takes several weeks for all of the furnishings to actually come in, but I know I did max out this one. It just, like, yeah, several in-game weeks have to go by for everything to come in, so I can't really show this one off. Although Windstad, in this playthrough, I believe Windstad was my main house. You know, unpopular opinion, I genuinely love the swamps of Morthal. I don't even know why. It's like objectively speaking, almost everyone would call this ugly. But I really like it. I like, especially with mods on, like, I have a lot of beautifying mods. But I like this area. I like the Solitude and the Morthal area. Some downside is there's Ustengrav literally a stone's throw away. So that is something to note. Yeah, I love this place so much. Like I said, it's almost identical to Lakeview and, you know, Helhjarchen Hall. It's just, you know, it's its own thing, I guess, technically. Oh yeah, see, I did have a bunch of stuff on here. Like, look, I have some Daedric artifacts. Right, I remember, I actually made a Let's Play on this save that I deleted, and this was my main home. It's so nostalgic, actually. Yeah, Lakeview Manor, 10 out of 10, absolute perfection. There's not a thing about it I would change if I could. Windstad Manor, 9 out of 10. Actually, you know what? Fuck it, 10 out of 10. I give Windstad and Lakeview a certified 10 out of 10. Yeah, it can be a little bit pricey, but for the fact that it's kind of a fun project you can complete as you progress through the game, and all of the benefits, like, there's just nothing that comes even close to comparing to it. Helhjarchen Hall, I'm actually gonna give like a 5 out of 10. It's ugly, and I don't understand why you would choose it over these two. But if that's your aesthetic, then that's your aesthetic, you know? And it has all the same benefits and everything, so, you know, you do you. 5 out of 10. Alright, we have 3 more houses to go. Alright, so the Markarth home, which is known as Valindrel Hall, I believe, is all the way up at the tippy top of this mountain. Kind of close to the entrance, so it's not an annoying, you know, fast travel point. I actually have yet to come inside on this playthrough. Valindrel Hall costs 8,000, and the interior decorations is an extra 4,100 for a total of 12,100, which is quite nice. Markarth is my favorite city in the game. I just love the dwarven aesthetic, I don't know why. Not many people do, but I absolutely love it. It doesn't actually seem to have a cooking part. Yeah, this was my main house on, like, my main character before this character was my main. You have an alchemy lab. Unfortunately, this is one of those houses where you have to choose if you want an alchemy lab or a kid's room. So you can't have both, sadly. But let's be honest, who the fuck is adopting kids in Skyrim? And if you are adopting kids, just make them go live at the Breeze home, honestly. You also have an enchanting room, which is sick as hell. It has some weapon racks, some actual dead human beings in a cage. The more weapon plaques, one of the shield ones. It comes with a few sword gems, which is kind of nice. It doesn't seem to have a storage, like a satchel or like a sack or anything, in the room itself, which is annoying. So I guess you could probably put like your sword gems in this end table maybe. You also get a decent amount of mannequins. I think you get like a few. I think you get that one, and then I think there's like one more. I forget where I saw it. Anyways, through this way, you have this room, which I believe is your house college room, the dining room, and this is the cooking part. There we go. And then in your bedroom, you have a few chests, wardrobes, etc., etc. Yeah, extremely nice aesthetic. Like I said, this was my main home on my main character, so I have a tiny smidge of bias. But for the price that this costs, and for the city, and the advantages you get, I'm going to put this in at a nice 7 out of 10. There's not many mannequins, not many weapon plaques, and it is annoying not having a sword gem, like, storage unit in that room. Okay, there is, like, barrels, so you could put them in here, I guess. Yeah, it is a little bit annoying not having the freedom of kids and an alchemy lab. And, you know, the slight inconveniences, I'd put it at a 7 out of 10. Price is really good, though. Alright, so second to last house on the list is Proud Spire Manor. And fun fact about me, I have never actually, in my life, legitimately bought and maxed out this house. Which I believe makes it the only house in the game I have not maxed out and bought completely. I don't even know which house it is. I believe it's this one. Where the fuck is the door? I believe it's this one, correct? Yeah, so it's this one. Jesus Christ, the houses are so, like, unidentifiable in Solitude. But yeah, I guess it's this one right next to the Bard's College, which is kind of cool if you are in the Bard's College. I've never done that, so I don't really know what it's like, but... In fun fact, even though I do actually have it bought for this video, I actually had to cheat to buy this house. Now why, you may ask? Just for the empty house alone, with nothing in it, is 25,000 bucks. This house, the empty house, is more expensive than almost every single house in the game when it's furnished. Not just, you know, the empty houses. This house, empty, is worth almost twice as much as Vlindolel Hall, completely furnished, the Windhelm one, completely furnished, Breeze Home, completely furnished, times like 5. And I'm not even mentioning the 11,000 bucks it costs extra to furnish it, making it 36,000 bucks for the complete house. And me touring this for you is gonna be the first time I've ever actually toured the house, so let's have a look around. Granted, Solitude is like a rich, fancy schmancy pants city, so I guess lore-wise it makes sense. You have a little cooking pot right there if you like cooking. Let's go to the basement and then work our way up. In the basement, you have a nice weapon rack, a bunch of free ingots, which is kind of cool. Some garlic braids. Oh wow, this basement is actually sick as fuck. Okay, let me stop being so negative. This actually looks quite nice. You have 2 mannequins, which is a big selling point for me at least. The big selling point is mannequins and like the weapon racks. You got an enchantment table with a bookshelf. It doesn't look like a storage spot again for sword gems, which is a little bit inconvenient. I guess you could put them in this barrel, although it's a little... You might forget, or I would definitely forget. You have an alchemy lab, which is quite nice. You have a lot of free ingredients, which I think is really quite nice, because it saves you having to buy them. Like free like ingots and stuff isn't a big selling point, but free ingredients is really nice because like, yeah, you could buy them and do the vendor glitch to buy them, but it is really annoying and you don't get all of these ones, and like I said, they're free. Also another 0 storage spot for the alchemy ingredients, but you know, that's basically a given at this point. I have no fucking idea what this room is. I do have it completely furnished. I guess that's just the peasant room. If you have a slave, they could live in that room, I guess. That leads outside. Alright, alchemy lab and enchantment room with some mannequins. Quite nice. Yeah, the main floor is ultimately pointless. I mean, it's cool, but it doesn't have any utility. The top floor, you have 2 rooms. This one is the kids' room, which is nice. Little honeycomb, if you want a honeycomb. And then this room is your bedroom with a storage chest for whatever you want to put in it. And, oh, a safe. Wow. That is kind of cool. And, oh my god, no way. That is so cheap. They actually put a Stone of Baron Zaya in this house. So if you want to complete that quest, you have to fucking buy this house. That's kind of annoying. So, what do I rate Proud Spire Manor? It has very great aesthetic. You're right across from Victoria Vici's house, which I think is kind of funny. Yeah, it has pretty decent aesthetic. It has 3 of the main things you would want. It doesn't have a smithy, and it's actually quite a decent walk away from a smithy. So if you're, over-encumbering yourself with dragon bones, it's kind of annoying to walk that distance. For the price, it's really not as good as it should be. I'm gonna give Proud Spire Manor a 2 out of 10, not only for the price and for its kind of relative uselessness, but also because they put a fucking Stone of Baron Zaya inside of it, so you kind of have to buy it. I think, yeah, 2 out of 10, maybe 3 out of 10 if you want. You know what? I'm gonna be generous. I think it is a 3 out of 10. There's no way it's a 2. Alright, I actually had to load up a different... What the fuck? What the fuck is that? Okay. I actually had to load up a different account, because I have never been to Source Time on that playthrough, apparently. But the last house on the list is going to be Severin Manor. Now, this actually is extremely unique, as it is not only free when you get it, but it's also completely furnished when you get it. Meaning it costs $0 for the entire house. And let's go inside. But not only does it cost $0, in order to get the house, the privilege of getting the house, it's a reward for a quest. The quest you complete involves you helping the captain of the guard kill, like, Ashbon, I think. And as a reward, you get $2,500. $2,500. Then you get another quest to root out some assassins and save the ruler of the island's life. Then you get another $2,500 and this fully furnished house for free, making it the only house you actually get paid to buy. So this house costs a grand total of a negative $5,000, which I think is definitely an advantage. It has a cooking pot, as you can see. In the basement, everything's in the basement for this house. It has quite possibly the most dangerously designed suicide machine, spewing out lots of carbon dioxide into this confined space, with no ventilation. But you do have a complete smithy in the basement, which is nice, along with I guess technically a place to store your ingredients for smithing, which is a lot more than a lot of the houses on this list. You also get, this is, I believe, I don't think this is a kid's room. I think this is like the steward's home. I don't know. Or maybe this is your bedroom. Either way, I don't know. You also get an enchantment room with lots of weapon plaques, which is kind of cool. You don't have a storage place for the sword gems, no surprise. You do get an alchemy lab, although you could probably put like the sword gems in one of these sacks or something. Yeah, with a bunch of mammoth tusks, an alchemy lab. Very nice, lots of free, expensive ingredients. And in your main bedroom, a nice mannequin, some weapon racks, another mannequin, some display cases, which is quite cool, along with a few free gems. And yeah, I don't think that other room was a kid's room. For this house, you get $5,000 and the house for free. You get an enchantment table, an alchemy lab, and a smithy for free, which is actually perfect in my opinion. The only 2 downsides are very small downsides. One of them is a small downside. No kids. That kind of makes sense though, because I wouldn't want my kids on fucking Source Time anyways. But not only no kids, it is of course the main downside that the city or that the house is on Source Time. Even though it's free and you get money to live in it, it's still on Source Time, which is a very annoying loading screen away from the mainland. I actually hate coming to Source Time It's very inconvenient, very annoying. But yeah, if you are tight for money, then this is absolutely like a 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 maybe. If you're doing like a proper playthrough, I would never make this my main house. It's definitely a cute novelty. Maybe for role-playing sake, if you want to make like a dark elf character who lives on Source Time. But I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10, as it does have some massive advantages, like for the fact that it is free and you get money to live in it. I keep harping on that point because it's such a good point in my opinion. Out of all of the houses in Skyrim, which one is the best? Well, the two best is Windstad Manor and the Lakeview, whichever one suits your aesthetic a little bit more. So yeah, that is my humble opinion on the question, which house is the best in the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Special Edition. Let me know in the comments if you think I'm wrong. Also let me know in the comments what you think, or if you have any fix to the stupid fucking Windhelm house, because that is really, really annoying. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching the whole thing. It really, really means a ton to me. Make sure you guys drop a sub and a like. And yeah, stay awesome like always, and peace out.